Hi everyone, it's Chris from Grow. Today we're going to talk about something that's really, really important. It only happens once a year to most people. Sometimes it's twice a year, but how to not waste your performance review. I've seen there's so many times I've seen people who are unhappy with what pay increase they received tied to their performance, unhappy about the fact that companies aren't treating them with the respect that they feel they deserve. There's no career path, there's no growth, there's no sort of, pathway that how they can grow themselves and how they can develop in their job. So today's a really, really important conversation. We're going to look at, what are some ways that performance reviews are conducted. We're going to look at some, a basic statistic about performance reviews. And then we're going to go through some ways that you can do really well in your performance review. So I hope you join me for the journey. This is a really, really important topic. I think let's start off with, you know, everybody hates performance reviews. And I think there are so many reasons for this, but 95% of managers just don't like them. I've been a manager for a long time. I've conducted hundreds of performance reviews. Um, and I'm probably a little bit different than most. I actually quite enjoy them because the people that have worked for me, I've always kept them, every month I've appraised them on the things that they need to do to improve. So I always give constant feedback. And I think that's one of the challenges. Not many people really get feedback through the year. And so when they get their review, they have a different point of view as to what their manager thinks. And so they go in thinking, yes, I've done so many great things. I'm going to get such a big pay increase. And it's never always the case. And so they come out and they're extremely disappointed. The manager doesn't know, um, what's going on and why the person is very unhappy with the review and in particular the pay increase that they get. And so if there's one thing I would say to any managers, and if you are going through the review process, please have more open dialogues with your manager as to what you're doing and how you can do better in your actual job. That really helps. That really helps a lot. So I think let's now talk. I mean, I just spoke one thing about communication, but there's so many more other reasons why people hate reviews. Okay, first of all, they are extremely subjective. It doesn't matter how much criteria is there, your goals, KPIs. There's always one or two things that you do that your manager is just not going to like. And although managers try really hard to be objective, that is going to influence them. And so it's almost like you feel you have to be the perfect person to get a really good performance review. You have to have, you have to do the job incredibly well. You have to have the perfect communication. You have to have the perfect motivation to help the team when they need it. You have to be perfect on how you're talking to your manager. There are so many areas that you feel you need to be perfect in when you're being evaluated in your performance review, and they are just so subjective. And I've heard managers talk about how they've rated people, oftentimes on what they do, but maybe it's one or two things that person did not do well in some of the tasks that they performed. Because in the end, keep in mind that you're all being rated with the other members of the team, and I've spoken about this before and how demotivating that is. And so while you might be doing really, really well, somebody else could be doing a little better. And so your manager needs to take that into account. And that's where the subjectivity comes in. Subjectivity in how they're rating you, and subjectivity in how they're rating you compared to other people in the team. So yeah, that really ties into the second point. You are competing with everybody else. It's a serious competition. People don't get it. And I've spoken to people, they've worked in my teams, year after year, and they are focusing on just themselves. And you have to say to them, well, you need to also look at what everybody else is doing, because as a manager you only get so many dollars, and so it is about what other people are doing as well, and you need to think about that. You need to look around and understand, what is everybody else doing in the team? Why is this person getting good reviews, and why are they getting promoted more than other people? And you'll see that it's because they're doing things differently. They're putting their hands up more often. And yeah, that's really hard. And to be honest, it sucks because you don't want to work 10-hour days. But, in some organizations, they reward that. And so if you're stuck in one of those companies, you have to do the same. Okay, you have to stand out. You have to be the best that you can be, but you have to go the extra mile. The other thing is that from the reviews, people actually don't learn anything. They come out away surprised because their manager has said one or two things that they didn't even know that they should be doing. And so, what's the learning from that? Oh, I need to do this and this. Is that it for a whole year? Are you telling me that in a whole year, all you're going to give me is like a 35 or 40-minute review, sometimes an hour, where you're going to give me some comments and then I have to reflect, and give you some feedback on your comments? So much happens in a year. So much. Think about what you did 12 months ago. Think about where you are now and think about everything that you have done. Who has captured all of that? Well, it's you. Has your manager, do they understand and recognize everything that you have done? Probably not. So, a lot of people don't feel they learn anything. As I said just a few minutes back, you need to make sure that you are communicating a lot with your manager about your performance, and that you learn as you go. You learn day to day on the job. Do not wait for the performance review to find out basic things you should be doing. Go to the performance review for the big things. The big things, okay? It's a rating system. The company has only so much money to give out to the whole organization and then your team. And then the managers fight for that money because they want to reward their team and they don't want people to go. So, first of all, your group, team, division leader has to be a great fighter to get as much money and really justify it to get as much money as they can. And then your manager has got to really figure out in the team that you're working in who really deserves the most money and what are people doing to contribute to the team, to the company, and also how well they're doing their jobs. But is definitely a rating system. And because of that, because of the small amounts of money that teams are given and managers are given, people never get paid for what they are worth. They never get paid for their contribution. Most pay increases are like, or 1%, 2%, sometimes 3%. So that's only a few $1,000s for most people when they're getting their sort of pay increase. And when you think about the last few years in inflation, I mean, is that really fair? Absolutely not. But is that the way it works? Yes, absolutely. So you need to think about that. And if you're not going to get the big increases, I mean, what's more important to you? Do you really want to give up all that time to get that small amount of money? And if you are a career person and you want to be a CEO one day, then absolutely you have to do it. You have to drive. You have to get the most that you can out of the job that you are in. Very, very important. So how to get the most out of reviews. Now, this is not easy and it requires a lot of work. So I'm just going to lay that out there. But you need to make a decision of how successful you want to be in the organization that you're working in right now. And how much do you want to use this as a stepping stone, for your next career, okay, for your next job. So you need to be planning 12 months out. By that, you need to, if you're in your review now and it's too late, you need to talk about the next 12 months. What are your manager's expectations of you? What do they really want to see you achieve? And it's not about just improving your KPIs, okay? It's really about what can you do to help the whole organization? And that's the question you need to ask. What can you do to help everybody? What can you do to improve the bottom line of the company and the team? What can you do that the company needs? Ask your manager or ask the division boss. What can you do? That's going to take time. But if you're serious about getting the most or the best sort of pay increase, getting promoted and serious about the organization, you need to do that and be very specific in what you need to improve on. If it's about the job that you are doing, what is it about the job? When does your manager expect to see some performance in the tasks that she's just outlined? What does she expect to see from you within those 12 months? What does he or she expect from you with regards to the team? Or what does your boss expect you to do with regards to the organization? What does your boss expect you to do with regards to how to improve processes or how to improve sales. What does your manager expect you to do with regards to helping maybe other teams, other divisions? I don't know, but you have to find out what do they need help with? What do they want the organization to improve in, and how can you deliver that? Okay, it's really important. What's the number one thing that your manager needs you to focus on? What are the things that you need to do to improve, to be better, and what's the key thing? And if you get that done super fast, what's the next thing that your manager expects you to focus on? I mean, you can create some type of a 3 or 4 domino impact effect. Don't just go with one thing, okay, and then do another 12 months, because you'll be in the same situation. You have to think bigger than your role. You have to think what is really going to have an incredible impact in your team and in your organization. And then also too, please, ask your manager what training or what assistance can the company provide? Can your manager provide? What are some resources? And if there are no resources, maybe a great thing that you could do is to create some resources to help everybody else. Do something that is really beneficial and noticeable by people within the organization. And I think the key thing is I'm saying get mentally right, but what I'm trying to say is get mentally tough. I think mental toughness, it really is a key factor of success. I mean, we can talk about, discipline and accountability, but mental toughness is really, really important. Everything is hard. There is no easy pathway in the corporate world. There is none. Everything is hard. So you need to focus on being the very best that you can be, and you need to use your performance review to figure what that is, not only from your point of view, but from your manager's point of view, from the organizational point of view. So don't stop. Keep progressing. Always keep looking for other opportunities during the year that you can help and assist. Because if you've taken the decision that this job is extremely important and the organization is extremely important, and you want to be and you want to get as high as you can in the shortest time frame as possible, always look for other opportunities. Talk to your manager about quarterly goals. It doesn't have to be about the year review. There are things that you can do each quarter, and check in with your manager about how you're going with regards to those quarterly objectives. If you're meeting and exceeding them, let them know. If there are things that you've said you are going to do, tell them that you've done them. Ask your manager about what else can you do, and there are other areas that you need to improve upon. And, review your week. Sit down each week and figure out what have you spent time on, what did you waste time on, and what can you do better. That is really, really important. Time efficiency is key, and the more you can do in a shorter period of time, and the better you can focus, it means that you have more time to spend with your friends and family, or your loved ones. I mean, being super efficient. I've seen some incredible people, just incredible people who have done incredible work in a 9-hour day, and been highly rewarded for it. But they are super efficient with their time, and they know exactly what they're doing every moment of the day, and they know how to make the most use of their time during the day. So if people are wasting your time, stop doing that. If you're doing things that are taking too long, figure out ways that you can be faster at those tasks. Keep learning and evolving. And so you might be able to do a lot of these things just within, just over a normal day, or maybe some extra work here and there, or one weekend, or whatever it is. But definitely you've got to get your head right in that. You have to really understand what your intent is going to be during that year. Okay, hope this has helped. Performance reviews are super, super important. Hope I've given you some tips on what to do and maybe what to avoid. Good luck. You deserve everything. You deserve a really good organization and great opportunities, and to stretch, and for everything that you would like in a job. So to the week ahead, enjoy.